Roll up, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard this magical mystery tour of West Malling and a few of the surrounding locations, filming locations for the Fab Four, the Beatles, that's right, John, Paul, George and Ringo. Anyway, your safety and comfort are of utmost importance to us, so please belt up in the back. Now, if you look to your left, you should see some Roman ruins, although slightly shrouded by the overgrown bushes. However, if you look to your right, it's all a bit of fun, isn't it? So, I am going to take you today to West Malling, to the town centre, and also to the what was once RAF West Malling, but is now Kings Hill, a housing estate and a town estate. But before we get there and continue the journey, I just want to come back to Knole Park, because in my first video, link here, I came here, July last year, and I scouted out the location for the tree and a few other things. And I thought to myself, yay, I found the tree, this is exciting, because it kind of had all the correct kind of situation. We had the road where the mini car would come up, and we had the tree, and we had the pond in the background where they filmed the Penny Lane breakfast lunch thing with their horses, but this wasn't the tree. So then I came back with a second video in October, and I kind of really, having had some comments from other fellow, YouTubers and people instructing me, just over here, not actually far from the other location, was this stump, which to me was the de facto tree. And you remember I superimposed a tree here. However, and before we continue with West Malling, I've had a communique from James Watson. So obviously James is watching my videos, and he sent me several pictures and said, no, the stump you want is this one. And so if I again overlay this image of the location map for Knole Park, the actual stump is pointing up here on the left. This is James's communique. He says the size is comparable and the shape is weathered but similar. The biggest clue is the part that I've circled, which is a bit of the stump coming up from the ground. He's talking about this tree, or tree stump, with that lump on the right there being the bit that he circled. Now this stump, he's quite right, because we've got this piece of bark and lump here, and the girth of the tree would make more sense. But what I've got in the background is that tree there. And to me, it's really just too close. Does that make sense? I mean, if you're going to have the tree, but maybe then the Beatles were filming from here, the cameraman was going in that direction, but then we've got several trees in the background there. So I think the jury is out on this one. I really do. So what are my options? I've got my original tree just here, which kind of I'm dismissing. I've then got, move over here, my tree here, the original stump that I found, and now we've got this one here from James Watson, who's saying that's the one. So yeah, the jury's out, I think. I'm sticking with my option number 2, only because of the kind of the lay of the land and the trees here, but I think it's highly probable. I know what cinematography is like, and if they want to superimpose and take a certain angle, they'll get it just right. Shall I superimpose the tree? See, I can see the little stump on the right. That really does make sense, because that was in the McCartney tree. I'm trying to get a good angle so that I don't have those other trees in the way. That one is just... Although saying that... No, that doesn't work. You can't even do it from this way. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the description below. No, the comment section below. Right, I'm definitely going to West Malling now. Let's go there. So on the 19th of September 1967, the Beatles came here, West Malling, and for 6 days they filmed a lot of the interior shots. So it would be the magicians, that scene, the hangar would have been, you know, Your Mother Should Know, and the tent scene with Aunt Jessie's Dream where they all go in. But where am I? Here. A famous scene, of course, was filmed with John selling Ringo some tickets in the local Newsagent.
We guarantee him the trip of a lifetime, and that's just what he gets.
And this is it. Wow, is it ironic that they've called it Rain Grill? A 1960s rock band. Did we know that? I think we did. It's said that George wasn't available for filming on that day because he had a bout of influenza. Now in that scene, John was wearing a hat, and the hat had been bought at a shop called Baldocks and Sons, which is just down there on the corner. But Baldocks was a family-run shop in Tunbridge, but it closed after 140 years. But the shop here on this corner was known as Baldock E and Sons, and I think one of the sons was Tim Baldock. Now what I'll do is I'll overlay an image of Baldock and Sons on the store, and he was an extra in the movie, and in this store he sold Ringo a pair of wide leg trousers and round collared shirts. Anyway, John was selling the tickets and he was wearing the hat. This is what Tim Baldock said, that he nicked off one of the old boys in the town. You can imagine John, can't you? Hey, I'll have that hat, eh? And it's said that the hat was later sold at auction, £3,500. So yeah, the Newsagent up there, Baldock and Sons there, where they bought their bits and bobs. Okay, the airfield is a bit of an anomaly, because I don't think anything at all remains. Now I've had a look online, and there is a chap who's got a blog site, Kenwood Lennon he calls himself, and I'm going to put a link in the description below. Have a read of what he said and have a look at the pictures. I'm going to use those pictures and overlay them when I get to the airfield, which is now called King's Hill. And I think the only thing that's left of the old airfield is the old control tower, which is now turned into a Costa coffee. So what I might do is quickly have a sit down, get myself a coffee, get my thoughts together, and I'm going to do some overlaying of maps and things, just so that I can get my bearings, and then we'll drive around some of those little locations. And albeit a housing estate, I might actually be able to stand on the exact location that has been identified. I can't confirm or deny, but it looks pretty decent to me. So I'll have a look at these locations and perhaps be standing on the spot that the Eggmen stood. So I find myself at the airport and the airfield, and the only thing I think that's actually left is the old control tower. So at least they've left something for posterity, albeit a Costa coffee. And there's a rather nice RAF roundel on the foreground there. See it on the path. So if I get my bearings and the lay of the land based on how this control tower sits, then directly in front of me that way, it was the largest of the hangars. I'll overlay a little image here. And that's where this image was taken of John Lennon's funky Rolls Royce parked outside the hangar was. So I'm going to nip in here, see if I can get myself a quiet table. We'll have a look at a few maps and see if there are any locations that I can actually stand on. So first of all, we take a look at this old aerial view of the airport, and we can see that he's marked out a yellow dot up in the sort of top right here, and that was the location that John was filmed and the boys were filmed playing I Am the Walrus. Now if I overlay the road map just here, what you can see is I'm here. I'll put a little point. So I've got to head over to what was once the anti-blast walls. There is absolutely nothing left of these anti-blast walls. But if you look at these several images that he's got, first of all he's got the airfield mapped out, so you can see the tour bus and the Rolls Royce parked outside the big hangar. You've got the main blast wall where the lads were performing with the piano and the police were all up on the wall, you know. So yeah, he's got all the blast route and everything mapped out. So what I'll do is I'll head over there, I'll get to those exact locations. It's not going to look the same, it really isn't. But there might be something nice about just standing, even though I'm not in someone's front garden, standing exactly where the events took place. Right, I'll see you over there. I'm going to head over there to the mound because that is all that's left of the building that is almost complete here. And that's where we had the anti-blast walls. But just here, if I look out, you've got one anti-blast wall here and then 3 stacked along at the back. And so this is the actual location that the lads stood, according to that map. You know, it doesn't look anything like it would have. But what I want to do is just stand on that mound and then take an overview, if I can, of all the different locations, see where the runway lay, and just talk about a few things. Okay, with map in hand, just over this side I was parked and we just saw where Lennon and the guys were performing, so I've got to get my map out. This video has become less interesting for me as I've moved along with this, and I think mostly because I'm disappointed there's no longer an airfield here and all we've got is a housing estate. But it is what it is, you know. They can't keep it for posterity just because the Beatles filmed here. And the airport has a history going back to the First World War. World War sounds like Germans, yeah? The First World War. And then in the Second World War, of course, it was used. And then in the Cold War, it was a jet airport, and they had bunkers, hence the anti-blast walls that we see. Anyway, that's by the by. So let me get my bearings here. What I will do, first of all, this is where I am. Map, dink. X marks the spot. Okay, now I've done that, I am standing actually just down here on this side. Let's get it tracking me. Just down here on this side was the third of the anti-blast walls. So we had one there, one there, one there, and then there was the fourth one just at the edge of the perimeter over there. Come on, camera, you're supposed to be intelligent. Center, follow, 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 thank you. So just on the far left over here, my left, your right, was the fourth one. Looking at that, I stood where the yellow dot was, image again. So at a 45-degree angle from the roundabout, the airstrip ran across the back like that. Amazing. And I stood here 1987, I think. It was one of those what do they call them, Warbirds air shows. Sally B was taking off Spitfires, Mustangs, fabulous it was. Anyway, you have the runway going down that way, you've got the anti-blast walls, and then the perimeter road, which I suspect they've used to outlay the main road. And in the sequence for the race, Ringo driving the bus and the cars racing after him with the vicars on their bikes and the racing drivers on the, you know, the motorcyclists on their bike, all trying to get to the finish line, and even people running. It was a bit bizarre, but it was fun. I think Ringo wins, doesn't he? Anyway, that scene is filmed where they run up and down the landing strip, the runway, and the perimeter road, around and round. I don't think there's anything actually any more to do. That's it. So short of one more trip back to Liverpool, I do believe that is it. Can't think I'd have any more Beatles videos to do. I might do a song or two, but anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you in another video. Bye for now. Oh, just remember, someone's gonna make you pay your fare. Death cab for cutie. Oh, death cab for cutie. Oh, death cab. Someone's gonna make you pay your fare.